Okay, let me quickly share this lesson in the Telegram classroom so that everyone will be able to have the link and join. Copy the link. Okay, I'll just be waiting for honorable members to join, and then from there, we will officially start our lesson for today. The link to join. Let me quickly check. Okay, I will need to. Guys, has anyone joined? I noticed someone has joined. Okay, whoever has joined, can you just indicate if everything is clear there? Can you see there? Can you hear me? So, in case if you want to respond to my question, you can just click somewhere, you can comment, and by so doing, that's how you will be able to respond to my question. Where Tandazile says it's clear and I can hear you say, okay, 100%. I'm very much happy that someone is able to hear me and you can clearly see over there. So this is what I'm going to do, honorable members. I'm just going to read through that given information there, and then from there we will do a bit of an intro, not necessarily an introduction, but interpretation of that given diagram, and then from there we answer the questions that will be following. So let's see. Here we are given a sketch which shows the graph of f of x, which is equals to -9 over x minus 1 minus 2. And they say A is the point of intersection at the asymptotes of f. With you just looking at that already, you can notice that all of that is represented by those two lines. So very quickly, just like we did yesterday, honorable members, let me just take that away and very quickly try to do that intro. And then at a later stage, we will come back to these questions. So let's see. Someone has made a comment there. I will definitely attend to that. Limile Bonkolo. Okay, so let's continue, honorable members. Remember, guys, what we are currently doing now is just a revision. So this is based on an assumption that all of you guys did attend when we started with term 3 until we completed everything. So just in case if you missed some of my previous lessons, what you can do, just make sure that you send an inbox via Telegram, just so that I'll be able to refer you to our previously recorded lessons. So, Limile Bonkolo, I'm not sure, honorable member, if you are in our Telegram classroom. Just make me aware if you are attending our classes via a Telegram. Just in case if you are not, you can just I'm aware. In that way, I will then give you the contact number to send WhatsApp so that you'll be added to our classroom. So very quickly, I'm just going to explain what's going on over there. If you remember, that function of f of x is equals to all of that is the same as y, which is equal. We said at the top we are having a, and then at the bottom is x plus p plus q. I hope you guys do remember that part where we said that a can be positive or negative, and when it is positive, it means it falls in the first and third quadrant. And then if it is negative, it means it falls in the second and fourth quadrant. So in that case, our A value is -9. It doesn't matter what the value is, as long as it's negative. That's why it seems to be in the second and the fourth quadrant of those asymptotes. And obviously, you can see that there was a shift towards the right, and that shift comes from that value. So the p-value tells us more about the left and right shift. I notice Limile has responded, I am attending, but then arrived later. I will communicate via inbox. Okay, noted. I'm curious who you are or what's your Telegram name, but it's fine. I will notice when you comment or when you inbox. So this is what I'm explaining to say. This p-value tells us more about the left and right movement. So or shift rather. So now if we are having -1, it means it has shifted by 1 unit to the right. If it was positive, it would have meant it has shifted by 1 unit to the left. And we said this one, it tells us more about the vertical shift, the up and down shift. So that means, honorable members, if it is a positive value, it means upward shift, but if it is a negative value, it means a downward shift. That's all that you need to remember. So that would mean, honorable members, you already know what is the x value of that asymptote by just looking at that, because we said the coordinates of the asymptotes, it's actually P and Q. You need to remember that this P, you take it with its opposite sign. So whatever P value that you have there, you write it with its opposite sign. This one, you write it as it is. That's all that you need to remember. So that means the p-value tells us by how much it has shifted to the right, and then that tells us by how much it has shifted downwards. So I think you guys can remember what we discussed on yesterday's lesson. So I just want to see if you guys can be able to fully understand what we are going to be doing there without direct interaction. So I'm just going to now go through those questions and see if there is something that we can answer. So this is where I will need you guys to also participate. So it won't just be myself giving you the answers, but what I would like for you to do, it is to participate by commenting, honorable members. So okay, I might need to bring that. Okay, so let's see. Here it says write down the coordinates of A. Write down the coordinates of A. That, honorable member, is 5.1.1. Remember, very much important that you write the numbering system used in the question paper. So because the question said write down the coordinates of A, something very much important, honorable members, no one said calculate, they just said write down. So you do nothing much but just writing down. So with you writing down, you just say A into, not necessarily A, oh yes, A, because they said write down the coordinates of A. And by so doing, they will give you 2 marks. The question now is, how do we write the coordinates of A? Where do we get the coordinates of A? Okay, this is where now I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to try that out. So, work it out and comment with whatever the answer that you get on your side. So just be waiting for the answer. Remember, guys, when you answer, it's best to just say, I'm just going to take a guess and think, who's that Johnny Walker, man? Johnny Walker, what's your name again? Njabs, yes. I'm just going to make an assumption that Njabulo has attended. So when you comment by giving your answer, just say Njabulo, and then, for example, you can just say A. Inside the brackets, you can say whatever value. So that's how you will be commenting with the answer that you have from your side. So the reason why I'm saying Jabulo, it's because his telegram name is Njabulo. I see those who commented is Tandazile, Matabela, and Limile Bongolo. These are different names that I do not know, but you might find that all the honorable members are attending the classes and telegram. So just make sure that you firstly start with that name that I usually use to call you, and then you give an answer. So I'll just be waiting. Remember, in case if you've got no idea, you also comment and just say no idea, so that I'm aware that you guys did get my question, but you are just not aware of what is expected of you. So that is the answer, honorable members, the coordinates of A. Mhm. What are the coordinates of A? What are you guys getting on your side? Hmm? No idea. Please remember to comment in case of no idea, and also please try to look somewhere on your screen where it says charts or live charts, or somewhere you can comment. It should be there, honorable members, um, on your screen, or you can see that sign for typing a message. That's where you comment, and then you just say no idea or give an answer to that question. It's fine. Let me explain how to work out this one. So this is how you work it out, honorable members. Remember, A is just P and Q, being the asymptotes. Asymptotes, the broken lines. So that means your A coordinate, Njabulo. Oh, Tandazile is Njabulo. Okay, so A, honorable members, it is that point there. At that point A, that's where you have the broken lines intersecting. So this is how you work it out in Jabulo. You see that f of x, it is this y. We have our a there being -9 there, and then we have x here, and then you just minus 1 there, not necessarily 1, but we just say plus p and then plus q. So The reason why I had to do that, it's so that you are therefore able to check what is the value of your P and what is the value of your Q. Ngwana Mamecha, okay, Ngwana Mamecha is there. So let's see. So that would mean this P, you take it with its opposite sign. But this one, you take it as it is. So when you look at that, you realize your P is -1. So you need to write it with its opposite sign. So that means it's going to be 1. And then your Q, you take it as it is, meaning it's going to be -2. So that is how you would work it out. It seems like Matapelo has got it correct. So now let's move on to the next question and see how far we can go with that. Jobs, I'm not sure, honorable member, if you now understand how to work it out. Let me just give you the last example. If we had, let's say, g of x, maybe let's say it was equals to -2 divided by x, let's say -half plus 2. They don't need to draw that in order to ask a question regarding the asymptotes. What they can do is just to say, give the equations of the asymptotes of g of x. So that means a question can be asked in at least 2 ways. The first way being this type where it is drawn and they say give the coordinates of A. Secondly, they can say the equations of the asymptotes. When they say the equation, an is equal sign will be needed. This is where you will say x is equals to, that means you give the value for the x asymptote, and then you say y is equals to, then you give the y value for the asymptote, where you will then have that one is going to be a half, that one is going to be 2, because this one saying p is equals to, you write it with its opposite sign, that with its makes sense. Okay, so now very quickly let's move on to 5.1.2 and see what the question says on that one. So it says, determine the coordinates of x and y intercepts of f. And you look at the marks, then you realize you are definitely going to do some calculations there. So let's see. They say determine the coordinates of x and y intercepts. Very much important, honorable members. They are talking about the intercept. Not just the intercepts, but the x and y intercepts. So that means we do know very well that when it comes to the x intercept, that's where we say y is equals to 0. And again, when it comes to the y intercept, that's where we say 0. Remember, they are talking about that function of f. So that would mean where we see y, we put 0. And remember, f of x is the same as y, or it represents y. So it's more like on that equation of y being equals to -9, the whole of that divided by x minus 1 minus 2, where we see y, we put 0. So that means now we have negative that and that minus that. So that means you need to therefore solve for x on that side, and then now again you still have y, which is equals to that same -9 minus 1 minus 2, or -2, where we see x, we put 0. So that means we have negative 9 over 0 minus 1, negative 2. This is then what I'm going to give to you guys to work it out and tell me what the answer is. So as you solve for x, what is going to be your x value and what is going to be your y value? Same procedure, honorable members. In case if you have already mentioned your name, you won't need to mention it again. You can just say x is equal to whatever, and then you say y is equals to whatever. So as soon as one comments, we will then look at those if you got the answers correctly. So this is more like a classwork, honorable members, where um, you need to work it out, and at the same time, while working it out, you need to give your answers. As soon as that is done, then we do the corrections for that question. So I hope you guys did get the question where they say calculate the x and y intercepts for that function of f. And I've given you a hint in terms of how you work it out. What I'm waiting for is for you to work it out and give me the x value and the y value. Once you've commented with that, then we'll do the calculation to see if we arrive at what you calculated. Ngwana Mameja got x as 7. And what about y? Matapel. Okay, I like what you're doing, honorable member. It's more like you're saying you have calculated the x value. I'm assuming you are now working on the y value. So I'll just be waiting to check what y value you are getting. Okay. Okay. While you're still working it out, Matapelo, I see there you got your y being equals to negative 1. I'm very, very much happy with your participation, honorable member. This is what I want you to take into consideration, honorable member. Let's check something. Without me having to work it out, I want to train you on how you notice if your answer is possibly correct or possibly wrong. Let's see. You see on this one, Matapel, this is where you have the x-intercept. And then this is where you have the y-intercept. So already for the y-intercept, you are expecting a positive y value. And already for the x value, you are expecting a negative x value. So that's how you are able to notice if your answer is possibly wrong or correct. So try to recalculate again and check what answers you are getting. So I've already given you a clue in terms of what type of answers to expect, honorable members. So try to recalculate, and then those who have calculated What answers are you getting? Ngwana Mameja, I'm not sure, honorable member, if you understand what I was explaining there regarding that and that. It makes sense, Mus. Jabulo, Manale Dwara, are you guys still there? What answers are you getting there, honorable members? Mm. Matapelo says y is equals to 7 and not negative that. Okay, okay. That seems convincing, honorable member. And then what about the x value? But can you see that if you were writing exam, by now you would have jumped to another question. So you guys do not fail because you do not know what to do, or you don't know or not understand the concept, but because you are writing so fast because you just want to make sure that you don't lose much of your precious time. Sometimes you swap, sometimes you make a mistake on the sign. I see there Manale Dwaba is confirming that actually y is equals to a 7. Jobs, can you repeat? I'm not sure on which one, honorable member. Um, just make sure to explain which part needs a re-explanation. But this is what we already have. 7 as y. I'm not getting what is the x value. It seems like you guys are running around that x value there. I'm mostly interested in seeing what you guys are getting on your side. Ngwanale Dwaba says negative 7 over 2. Let me see what that is. How to find the x value. Okay. Negative 7 is 3.5. Okay. Since someone has posted an answer, let's verify if that answer is correct. Manama Major seems like got the same answer. Okay, so jobs, I'm about to now explain how to get that x value. So let's see. You obviously want to take that to the other side, and it changes the sign, it becomes 2. You remain with negative 9 over x minus 1. So obviously you will therefore cross multiply. It's like you will take that and multiply by that. Obviously this is over 1, that times that. So it's more like you're saying this times that. It ends up being 2x minus 1, which is equal to that times that, which ends up being negative 9. So you can just say you divide both sides by 2, so that that cancels with that, and you remain with x, which is equals to not that, but x minus 1 is what remains. X minus 1 is equals to negative 9 over 2. Because it's x that you are looking for, you can say x, you take this negative 1 to the other side, and then it becomes negative 9 over 2 plus 1. It is no longer minus. Maybe let me not do that and say it is negative 9 over 2, then plus 1. So you punch that on a calculator. Let's see what value you are getting. I will also explain how to find I, negative that over that, and then plus 1. Yes, I'm getting negative 7 over 2. And then for this one, you just punch all of it on a calculator. So you just need to always remember that when it comes to calculating the x-intercept and the y-intercept, this one, let me say, a difficult, but this one easiest or easy. Just so that it's easier for you to always remember that when you do the y-intercept, it's easy because you just punch on a calculator, then you get an answer. So that means you have over, you have negative 9 at the top, and then 0 minus 1 at the bottom, and then on the side it's minus 2, it ends up being 7. Then it's done. But when it comes to finding the x-intercept, that's where the calculation is going to be a bit lengthy. Whether you are working with a parabola, hyperbola, exponential, or whatever the type of a function, you will definitely have to do some calculations when it comes to the x-intercept. So I hope you guys understood what I've done there, and I am very much happy that you guys did get those correct. So that means here we are having our 7, and then there we are having negative 7 over 2. Remember guys, this type of learning is what you will encounter when you get to varsity level honorable members. So you just need to make sure that you make use of this technology, and you participate in all possible ways. In this way, you will definitely remember me, honorable members, when you get to varsity and you'll be doing this type of online learning, where some of the other honorable members will be struggling, but in your case, you won't have much of an issue because you would have done this many times. So don't just watch, but try to train your brain to be able to write, listen, and participate at the same time, honorable members. Very, very much important. Okay, so now let's see. We are now on 5.1.3. Remember, this is 1, meaning there is 1, and then here we know most is negative 2. Is that y is equals to negative 2? Those are the equations of the asymptotes. I had to write that because I removed, we said x is 1, that is negative 2. I removed that first question, so that's why I'm writing them there. Okay. Manale Dwab, I noticed there you say you have replied. You did get it correct, honorable members. Honorable member, do not worry that much about that. Okay, so let's see. Now it says write down an equation of the axis of symmetry of f that has a negative gradient. Yes, I'm very much happy that question came again. Today, we do have that question. So now, this is me asking you a question to say, how do we then work out this one, honorable members? They are saying, write down an equation of the axis of symmetry of f that has a negative gradient, and it's allocated 2 marks. We did this question yesterday, the honorable members. I want to see if you're going to get it correct. Try work it out on your side. Whoever responds first, we are therefore going to work it out and see if we arrive at the same conclusion. So please, honorable members, try to work it out and see how far you can go with that one. Check your notes, check what we have done, and see if you can answer that one. We are on question 5.1.3. We are on question 5.1.3, which says write down an equation of the axis of symmetry of F that has a negative gradient. Remember, in case if you've got no idea, you say no idea. In case if you know what the answer is, work it out and comment. I'm very much glad that you guys are going to learn how to type mathematics, or let me say mathematic symbols. Because when you get to varsity level, there will be a point where you need to do a research or whatever the case may be, and you need to type these things. Punching values on a calculator, writing math equations is completely different story when you have to type those. For example, if you are having, let's say, y is equals to that negative 9 over x minus 1 minus 2, to type this, it's going to be an interesting thing to type. When you type it, it's y, then you do have its equal sign. You can say negative 9. Someone is therefore going to say divided by x minus 1, and they say minus 2, which is wrong. Which is wrong. So the honorable members at varsity level who fail this type of reports, it's because of trying to type that and they end up typing that, which results in wrong answers. To type it, it would be y is equals, you can just say negative 9, but you can say divided by using that pair. Doesn't matter if you use the divided or that one, but inside the brackets, just to show that this one, it goes as a unit, and then you say minus 1. These two things are completely two different things. You might punch all of that, for example, with substituting whatever value there, same value there, you won't get the same answers. Reason to that is because they are not typed in the same way. So what is the answer to our question, honorable members? That one to type the answer, it's going to be very much easy to type an answer to this question. So that is the answer. Guys, what is the answer for that one? I'm still waiting, honorable members. Unama Major, no idea. Thanks for your honesty, honorable members. The other one, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to give you guys a hint, just to remind you. Always, always when they talk about axis of symmetry, remember it is that line that makes a cross at where you have your asymptotes intersecting. So if you guys remember, this is where they intersect at point A, having whatever the coordinates that we found. But when it comes to those axes of symmetry, we have those two lines. We have that one. You are onto something, Wanamamej. I see Jobs. Thanks also for your honesty, honorable member. I'll just give you a tip. So you just need to always remember that we have two types of straight lines. We have this one that we said it has a positive gradient, which is positive. You don't need to write that positive because it's always positive 1. So it's positive invisible 1 x plus c. Or you have this one of y, it's equals to negative invisible 1x plus c. What I'm trying to say is you will always choose between these two equations depending on what examiner wants. All that you need to do is to ask yourself, is it equation 1 or equation number 2 that I must use? So that is the hint that I was talking about. So Matapelo, make sure of the formula there. Remember, it's actually y it's equals to mx plus c. The other one is y is equals to negative mx plus c. So this one having a positive gradient, that gradient is always 1. That is why there we have invisible 1. And then for the one that has a negative, it is that negative there, invisible 1. So that's why there we have negative invisible 1. So that m, you won't need to write it because we know it's always either 1 or negative 1 depending on the line. So I've just given you guys a hint, and I'm wondering if it now makes sense or still no idea. I'll just wait for your response on that one, and then from there I will then continue. So let's see. Which equation are you going to use? Equation number 1 or equation number 2? And how will the equation look like? I'm not sure if that hint is enough, honorable members, but I'm suspecting that you now have some light in terms of how to work it out. Guys, is it still no idea on this one? Y is equals to negative 2. Okay, okay, okay. So, remember, the format has to be that or that. It's like they want you to give an equation of a straight line. ngwana Ledwaba. It's like they want you to give an equation of a straight line. How it look like. So this is how you start it, honorable members. Firstly, you say, I've got two equations, plus c. The second equation is this one of y, it's equals to negative x plus c. I'm very much happy that you guys are interactive, because in that way, it tells me that you do apply your mind and try to work this. So that means you've got equation number 1 and equation number 2. Just so that we are on the same page, according to this problem, which equation are we going to use? Is it equation 1 or is it equation 2? And why? Let's start it there. Let's follow that process. Write down an equation of the axis of symmetry of f that is a negative gradient. You tell me. You can just comment 1, maybe give a reason, or comment 2, give a reason. Between equation 1 and 2, which one, according to the question, are we supposed to use, and why? Mm-hmm. Between equation 1 and 2. Okay, let me further explain. According to the question, they want equation of a line which has a negative gradient. So that means equation number 2 is the one that we're going to use. So that means you're going to say y is equals to negative x plus c. Then you say at a point where the asymptotes intersect, because this is where you have your lines crossing, which we call axis of symmetry. You have this one with a positive gradient, and you have this one with a negative gradient. And the one that examiner is talking about is the one which has a negative gradient. So that means you're just going to say at that point A having 1 and negative 2. All that you need to do is to find the C value. What is y is that, what is x is that. So that means you have negative 2, which is equals to, there it's 1 plus. You take this to the other side, it's like you have a negative 2 plus that, which is equals to c. So it's like your c is equals to negative 1. Just seems like Matapelo was onto something, but it's incomplete. You need to say y is equals to negative x minus 1. This is how you represent an equation of a straight line. This is how you represent an equation of an axis of symmetry. axis of symmetry is a straight line. So that is why you write it in that format. It's like you're finding an equation of a straight line. Did you guys understand? You can just respond with yes or no, maybe request for re-explanation. And you can just specify which part you did not understand. Does it make sense? I'm just going to continue with an assumption that it does make sense. Just in case if it doesn't, then you'll just comment. Okay, I'm just going to remove all of that. Yes, I got a response. Honorable member confirming that it does make sense. Okay. So let's see. Mm, There's another question. Not an easy one, I promise you. Not an easy one, this one. So here is hence or otherwise determine the coordinates of a point that lies on F in the fourth quadrant, which is the closest to point A. Not an easy one. Hence or otherwise, determine the coordinates of a point that lies on F in the fourth quadrant, which is the closest to A. Going to give you a hint on that one. I'm going to give you a hint on that one. So let's see. This is what happens. The moment examiner makes use of that word hence, it simply means you might need to refer to your previous calculation. Hence or otherwise, determine the coordinates of a point that lies on F. When they say a point that lies on F, it means it's a point which could be at any point on that. Remember, this is also F. But now they are saying which lies in the fourth quadrant. Why do they say in the fourth quadrant? They are simply saying forget completely about this function in the second quadrant, but focus in the fourth quadrant. So that means you are actually looking at that, which is closest to A. So obviously, the point that you are looking for, it is the one which is in the fourth quadrant and it is the one which is closest to A. So that means, the honorable members, obviously it is that point there, which is a point at the intersection of that line and also that. Yes, those values came from the equation. Okay, 100% honorable members. But you just need to be careful that when they say equation, if you say y is equals to -2, it's like you are giving that as the equation of a straight line. But what they wanted is for you to write it in that format of y is equals to a negative x minus 2. So you need to give it in that format, because that is the equation. But what makes me happy is that the values that you got which came out of that, they are correct. It's just a matter of presentation. It's like you've cooked and you don't have the plates to dish up. So it's like they said, can you dish up for us? And what you did was just to cook, but you did not serve the food. Okay, so let's see. Um, Let me explain something which makes sense. I'll make an assumption that this is the Cartesian plane having the x and y. Let me now do that and also do that. When we talk about an axis of symmetry, maybe let me exaggerate it so that it makes sense. It's like we are having that. It's like we are having that. An axis of symmetry, it cuts right at the turning point of that type of a shape of a hyperbola. So that means also in this case, that hyperbola, it's also something of that nature. That one same thing. So the moment they had to say a point closest to A, it's because the only point which is closest to A, or which is closest to the intersection of the asymptotes, it is that point where this straight line touches. It is that point. It's like at the turning point of that shape. If, for example, it was a parabola, axis of symmetry, it cuts right at the turning point there, such that this side is equals to that side. That is an axis of symmetry. That side is equals to that one. So if, for example, we are talking about this point that lies on F, for example, this point there is not closest to the point of intersection of the asymptotes, but it is that one that is. That is why we are going to say at that point, that's where you have the equation of that straight line being equals to the equation of that one. Why? Because this is the point of intersection of the two lines. Just says, it was a complicated thing to explain. I wonder if you guys understood that. Maybe let's work it out, and then after I've worked it out, you will therefore let me know if it made sense or if it needs re-explanation. So in short, I'm just saying you are just going to take the two equations, equate them together, and then solve for x and y. That's how you determine those coordinates. So remember, you have your first equation of that straight line being negative x minus 2. Is it 2 minus 1? What was it? I think it was minus 1. I think it was minus 1. And you have that one there being y equals to negative 9 over x minus 1 minus 2. What I'm saying is you take these two equations, you equate them together. So it's like you are having negative that and that, negative 9 over x minus 1 minus 2. Then you solve for x. After you've calculated your x value, then you find y. So try work it out and let me know what answer you are getting. As you work it out, please comment if what I've explained made sense or if it is still tricky, so that I'm aware or I've got an idea if you guys understand what's going on there. So I'll just be waiting to hear from you guys if you do understand or not.